All right. So this session on PearDeck, one of the things you'll do as a teacher is you'll start a session and it's going to push content to your device. It's actually going to appear, if you're using a phone right now to be in PearDeck, it's going to appear on your phone. And you'll see that you can actually type or drag or draw on the slides yourself in some cases. Now, when we're in our brick and mortar classrooms, you often will project that to the screen and the students have their content, and you might just have, you know, something up in another tab and the students can't see it. But with Zoom, anything that you have on your screen can be shared, and you have a teacher dashboard. So one of my pro tips is make sure that you, if you possible, that you have another device handy so that you can have the teacher dashboard running on another device, because as you'll learn later, that teacher dashboard is actually going to allow me to see your answers without showing them to the whole class, so that I can hand select which ones I want us to discuss or talk about. So the first thing before we get started as well, you might want to jot down or on your Zoom window, I can put this in the chat as well, I have the link to the slides, PD capital N's 2020. So that you can have the slide deck, which is mostly screenshots, of the various aspects of this particular program. But I have put a link in the chat that is the slide deck. That's the bit.ly PDNN 2020. And for the person who just joined us, I am putting another link to help you get right into our activity so that you can join us. All right, so those slides will give you the screenshots that kind of remind you of how to get through this process as a teacher, how to design your slides, and they show you what the teacher side looks like on the teacher dashboard, and they give you links to resources. So at the end of the slide deck, the very last slide is a slide full of resources. So PearDeck is it's a freemium tool, but you don't have to worry about that, because for this year you have a paid license. It was purchased specifically to support us with distance learning. So at this time it is a 1-year license. Okay. And then it is an add-on for Google Slides. It's also an extension in my Chrome browser. That extension has a very specific purpose. The purpose of that extension is to allow me to add the animations from Google Slides so that things come in one at a time. I did not use the extension for this particular presentation, but it has a specific purpose that's for the teachers when they're designing. And what PearDeck does is, many of you have designed a Google Slides presentation before. In fact, this is about as plain as a Google Slide as you can get. It's got a title, it has some informational text. Google Slides could have images and so on. And normally Google Slides are then presented to your students either with you talking live, or you might make a screen capture video of you talking while you click through your slide deck. What PearDeck does is it inserts interactive slides. It inserts interactive slides into your Google Slides presentation that allow your students to pause, stop, reflect on what they've heard and learned so far, and respond to it with whatever activities you've decided to give them in order to process and use that new information. So I'm going to go into the chat. For those of you who just joined us, I'm going to put a link directly to our presentation, because you want to join in as a student so that you can experience this. The other link that's going into the chat is the slide deck. And with the slide deck, that way you have access not only to the screenshots, but to the last slide, which has all the resources. So those are in the chat for you. Sorry. So what we're going to do right now is look at some possible activities, and there are many, many, many template slides available to you. So this is just a few small samples. I used to be a French teacher before I came into this work, so there are some French words on these slides, but it's okay. It's not a real test, and we all know I did not teach you a lesson before doing this, so there's no expectation for right or wrong. But the first item here says vrai, which is the French word for true, or faux, which is the French word for false. The sentence is, there are no cognates between French and English. A cognate is a word that is similar in two different languages, so that you could, even if you don't speak one of the languages, you might recognize the word because it's so similar in that other language. So is that statement true, vrai, or false, faux? And the way you will answer is in the lower left corner of your screen on the device where you joined the PearDeck, you will see a dot. Take your, oh, sorry, it's not a dot. This isn't a draggable. Sorry, this is a multiple choice. On the right side of the screen, you'll see two options, true or false. So go ahead and click on the one that you believe is the correct answer. There are no cognates between French and English, no words that are the same at all or similar. Vrai, if you think that statement is true, and faux, if you think that that statement is false. And now as the teacher, I can actually show responses. As the teacher, I can actually show responses, and we could now discuss this. It was almost an even mix, with part of the class saying that that statement was true, and part of the class saying that that statement was false. Daniel, I'm going to put a link in the chat that will help you join this activity so that you can experience it the way a student does. You can join this. This would be on the device that you're doing your PearDeck with. There you go. So now we can discuss that. And in fact, the statement is false. There are tons and tons and tons of cognates between English and French. In fact, there's even more cognates between English and French than there are between Spanish and French. Pronunciation in Spanish is easier for English speakers, but the number of cognates in French is easier. So government, the sciences, a lot of math terms, dance and fine arts terms, geography, and so on. Many of those terms are almost exactly the same in French and English. Let's try another activity. So again, there's many different styles, and these are PearDeck slides, but I edited some of the text. Like, it wasn't originally in French, so I changed these words to French. I added this statement at the top. Let's try another one. Oh, look, there are some cognates right on this slide. You are now all artistes, and I would like you to dessiner un triangle. Triangle might sound funny, but if you look at the spelling, it is exactly the way it is spelled. And so you are going to take your drawing tools, which are down at the bottom of your slide, and you're going to now draw what I've asked you to draw on the slide. And while you're doing that, I'm looking at the teacher dashboard, and I can scroll down and choose which responses I would like to talk about or show to the class. So I am currently selecting a couple of responses to discuss with the class. Okay. So now, this time when I click show responses, instead of showing everyone's responses, it's only going to show the ones that I've selected. So I really appreciated how people used the different colors in order to draw their triangle. And even here, very nice solid triangle, very well done with all three sides and everything connected. And you all clearly understood what a triangle is. And those, we got more answers than that, but I selected three for us, four rather, for us to look at. We've gotten 9 responses in so far, just so that you know. Now I'm going to hide responses. That brings me back to my presentation. You're seeing me look off to the side if you happen to be able to see my video at all. Because I'm looking at the teacher dashboard on another device. This sentence is full of cognates. This is an agree or disagree statement. So you're going to tell me if you agree or disagree by dragging your dot to the statement agree or disagree or anywhere in between. The statement is je déteste le chocolat. Déteste. That is not a favorable word. Je déteste le chocolat. If you agree with that statement, you'll put your dot where it says agree. If you disagree, you all the way disagree, you'll put your dot where it says disagree. And if you're somewhere in the middle, you can put your dot in the middle. And if I hit show responses and you move your dot right now, we will all see you move your dot. So see, I told you. So this is a drag the icon type of activity. We'll see another one like that later that's slightly more complex. PearDeck actually comes with slides that are for content areas, as we'll see in a little bit, and they come with slides for social emotional support, digital citizenship, and other aspects like primary learning, primary grades learning, and so on. This is from their social emotional series of slides. And what it's giving you the opportunity to do is to draw or type anywhere, because if you look at your drawing tools, you also have a text tool to type if you prefer to type. And it's asking, giving you a chance to tell us or tell me what's filling your bucket. In other words, what's sustaining you and keeping you going, even amid everything that's seeming so challenging right now. And what's draining your bucket? What's poking holes in it? And every time you start to, you're trying to fill it up. And what are the things that are poking holes in your bucket and draining the water out? And so I'm looking at my teacher dashboard to see what is filling people's buckets and what is draining people's buckets. And here too, I can actually choose only certain responses to show, or in my main projector window, I can just click show responses and you'll see everybody's in real time. So if people are still typing or drawing, that will be obvious as well. Let me give you another second. I can relate. Oh, some nice responses, especially when you see what's filling your bucket. And I have to say, I've given this presentation a couple of times recently to a couple of different groups of teachers. One group actually at Chicago Public Schools over the weekend, and then also a group of world language teachers from all of Northern California. And I will say there are definitely a couple of themes emerging. One of the themes that's emerging and that I really like, and I'll just go ahead and show responses, especially since you're all just anonymous animals right now, is students and colleagues are filling your buckets right now. And that's what I'm seeing every time I give this presentation, and it really makes my heart happy. So students, and also students and colleagues and family, are filling your buckets right now. Oh, that's sweet. I hadn't seen that one yet. And the tech is one of the drainers right now. And I know we all wish it was running more smoothly, but we're all here to support each other and make this go as well as it possibly can. But troubleshooting the tech, and just the tech even for yourselves, and managing all the tech. And I'm starting, of course, to see the smoke also as a drain, and that social distancing as a drain. And what we have to do now to get through the coronavirus is another drain that we're starting to see emerge as a theme. So I can hide those responses, go to my next slide. This one is another one where you can draw, and these are some pictures on the right and some French words for fruits on the left. Some students prefer to use the drawing tools and draw lines. I had others who preferred to just do colored dots and just, do a dot by the word and then the same colored dot by the fruit. I've had people number a number. So any way you can find to show me which words you think go with which picture of fruit. And in case it helps, I will say them out loud for you, starting at the top: citron vert, framboise, orange, pêche, and pomme. Oh, I'm seeing some really good responses. In fact, I see at least one that is 100% correct, and I was not aware of any French speakers in my group. Citron vert, orange, pêche, pomme. Very nice. Citron vert, framboise, pomme, pêche. Well, these are very nice. All right, let's show some responses. You might not be done. You can actually keep going. Even if I say I'm showing responses, you can keep drawing. So citron vert is actually lime. Very good. Orange is an orange. Framboise is a raspberry. Pomme is an apple. And pêche is a peach. Bravo. I've done this presentation before without saying what the answers were, and people actually got mad at me because they wanted to know if they were right. How do you get kids on Zoom and to be able to interact live? One of the things I would do, what I did later for the participants. At first, when the first participants arrived, I actually had them go to a web browser and join pd.com and, and so on. But you can actually, these are part of PearDeck. You can actually get, there's a link that I realized a little bit after some people had started to arrive, that I could just put a link in the chat and they just clicked on the link. The other piece is, since you teach third grade, you can also push it out to Google Classroom, but that might work better for the asynchronous version of PearDeck, which is these same slides, but it pushes it out to them as an assignment that they can do whenever they're on the computer. So I recommend getting the link and putting that into the chat. You're not seeing any of the answers yet, although you should be able to see, Bianca, you might, so I do have it to where I'm showing answers, but it's going to be on the projector slide, which is my teaching slide, which means it's in Zoom. So you might have to minimize your internet window or go find your Zoom window and look at Zoom, because I'm projecting the answers, but for distance learning, that means I'm projecting to Zoom. It's not pushing all of the student response slides to your device the way it pushed the activity for you to complete to your device. So notice we have again pomme and citron vert, framboise and orange and pêche. And this person like used shapes. So the lines are perfect, perfectly straight lines. And we have just a lot of really good answers. I was very impressed, everybody. Like I said, I wasn't sure, I haven't seen the whole participant list. A few more people have come in, but I didn't realize I had such good French speakers in my group. All right, look at that, pomme and citron vert and orange. They found another color and the shape tool for lines. All right, let's hide those responses. So these are all samples of different kinds. These are different kinds of activities that are available in PearDeck. Here's another one. This is a geography slide, and you will see several different flags at the bottom of your screen. So you could drag the red flag to Italy. Now, if you were to do this in your classes, you might want to get a map that's not labeled, but this was just for demonstration purposes. So no reason to get it wrong, everybody. Drag the red flag to Italy, the orange flag to Germany, the yellow flag to Spain, the green flag to England, excuse me, and the blue flag to France. Now, what's interesting about these is you could do this as an assessment, and I'm wondering whether you do it synchronously or asynchronously. Well, one of my wonderings is I noticed it didn't seem like there was a way for you to tell me who you are if I just give you the link. So for assessment purposes, you might want to push that link out via Google Classroom, because they will come in logged in as themselves. And you know, asynchronously, the only challenge is you don't have a way to be sure of whether or not they're interacting with other people, but you can do such a wide variety of tasks that you could, for example, do a geography task, because I know you're a language teacher, if I remember correctly. And so you could do a geography task like this, for example. And I can show responses at any time. I didn't select specific responses, and we can see the clusters of flags. On my screen, I can actually tell, you know, where different flags were placed, although they're so on top of each other, I can't quite get each student's answers. So for Daniel, when you were asking about using it for assessment, a slide like this, you will have to go in, you'll go into your dashboard. I don't know if you've looked at your teacher dashboard yet, but you'll, a slide like this with dragging, you might have a bit of a challenge with, because there's no way for you to separate out. As you can see, I've got about 10 blue flags, and they're all on top of each other. And I've got a bunch of red flags and a bunch of orange. The only thing I could tell is, in this case, since there's no outliers, if someone had put, like, one of the blue flags is over here and it's not on the map, I can find out who that is. That is Panda. Panda does not know where the blue flag goes. So Panda's going to get that question wrong. But all the other people, even though I can't see all their names, they definitely know where the blue flag goes. So they all get the France question correct. And all the green flags are in the right place, and all the orange flags are in the right place. So you would have to be a little bit creative in understanding how to use the teacher dashboard to help you decide who's right or wrong. Now, in this activity, this is actually from their template for primary grades. Everything is editable. So if you teach languages, for example, you could change this to be in a different language, and you could change these words, and you could provide no letters, and just provide pictures, and so on. Everything is editable. If you teach a whole different subject area and not the primary grades, you could use this in different ways with the content of your course. So you can use the drawing tools and the typing tools. I'm watching people draw on the slides right now on my teacher dashboard. And it does tell me, in this case, I see different, if I click show responses, I see different people's responses. And on my dashboard as the teacher, not here for you as students, for you it's anonymous when you look. if you look at my screen where I'm projecting. But for the teacher on the teacher dashboard, I can tell which one was submitted by Peacock and what was submitted by Panda and by Fish and by Donkey and by Chameleon and so on. So I actually have something that tells me who submitted each of these responses. I'll show you the dashboard in a little bit. And you actually have slides that show you the dashboard later in case you forget what it looks like.
So I have a question. Sometimes when I use it, I usually just save what we did that day and then I post it in Google Classrooms just so I could remember.
Like the takeaways?
Yeah. So if I have an account, I could go back and look at, the accounts.
I'm going to show you where your sessions are located and you can open any of them up. So you can go back to the first one you did since we got the license and open that up.
Okay.
If you wanted to look at it. Absolutely. So again, these are more template slides. You're all going to town. These are more template slides where you can provide this kind of activity to students. And again, you could change out the pictures, change the letter, type a whole different question, do something totally different with this slide if you wanted to. I know you're having fun, those of you who started, but I'm going to get you to the next one. So this one I didn't even finish, but you can see that there's also a way to insert a word-based problem or question here and then provide multiple choice answers. And yes, you can feel free to answer whatever you'd like. There's no right or wrong answer. So if you're on PearDeck and you want to decide between A, B, C, D, or E, go for it. It'll be funny to see if a pattern emerges as to what answers you all pick, given that there's no question. And I will say there is a pattern, by the way, so I'm finding this a little bit amusing. So 8 of you have answered so far. And no one has picked A or B or E. And until, now there's 9. So 4 people picked C and 5 people picked D. Good job. And on my teacher dashboard, if I hover over, when I hover here, you can't see it, but I'm projecting in Zoom. I'm showing the bar graph of what people have responded. But on my teacher dashboard on the other computer, if I hover, and I can't even see what it's showing right now, but if I hover, it actually pulls down a drop down showing me exactly which people picked D. And if I hover over C, it does a drop down of exactly which people picked C. Notice you can also do perspective and point of view. I would recommend if you do this activity, this is a template slide. It looks just like this. I didn't change anything. But if you do this activity, I would recommend that you clarify your instructions, because do you really want them to just draw the face, or do you want them to also type or handwrite some information about what each character's perspective or point of view is and maybe what evidence that's based on? So I know it's much more fun to just draw the faces, but I would recommend for this slide adding some instructions to students about what it is you want them to be sure to do, in addition to adding the face and maybe some hair. These are cute. There we go. So if I show responses, and you can actually keep working on them. And remember, I'm in Zoom right now, so you can't see the responses unless you pop back to my Zoom window. But we're seeing in real time as someone is adding hair to the people on their screen. They've already put faces in, but now they're adding hair. Someone's got faces and hair also on theirs. And then someone else has typed roscuro and has drawn a picture. And someone else has made their faces. And we have a lot of faces. You can see how students would be tempted to just draw the faces. That's why I said, if you think perspective is important and you want to know the perspective of each of the characters based on the evidence from the text that they read, you should probably, oh, look, we are going to town on these. These are getting really good. You should probably add some instructions. Oh, Princess P. I'm just scrolling through because these are continuing to develop. I think people needed a little art therapy today. All right, get ready. Your slide's going to change. No more drawing. Boom. This is a check-in slide. There are a few different kinds of check-in slides that are available where you can kind of check the pulse of your learners. So this one will allow you to drag the dot to however you're feeling. And I could have changed the text. I did not. So this one was originally designed as a middle of lesson check-in. Can we keep going? Are you doing well enough to keep going? Are you a little confused? Or do you need me to stop everything before we go on to the next part of the lesson because you need help? Right? So that's interesting.
I have a blank screen.
So do I. I'm noticing on the teacher dashboard, I think it must have glitched. So on the teacher dashboard, I see some dots, but I noticed that the screen went blank. Now on the screen that I'm projecting, it's not blank. So
Yeah.
I think there must have just been a glitch. I can try reloading it. So don't forget, this is going to back up one activity. Well, actually, let's do this. It's going to boom. Okay, that loaded. Now let's go back and see if it pops the picture in. There it is.
Oh, no, it is.
Yeah, it looks like it just glitched. So what I did to fix that glitch was I advanced to the next slide and then I backed up to the previous slide to get it to, oh no. So this was intended as a middle of lesson, given that the teacher should have actually been teaching something. In this case, I've just been throwing activities at you so you can see the different kinds of activities you could do with PearDeck. So if you're feeling confused or completely lost, that makes sense since I have not taught you anything. I just threw a bunch of activities at you. All right, okay. So if you were doing PearDeck, we're going to exit. We're not going to do any more student-facing PearDeck activities right now. So I'm going to ask you to come back into the Zoom room with me. So if you're on a different device or if you're on the same device and just need to find Zoom, go ahead and do that now. How am I on time? Oh, perfect. Okay. All right. So the first thing to be sure of is how you get PearDeck. PearDeck is basically an add-on to Google Slides, and it's already been force installed for all of you, so you shouldn't really have to do much to get PearDeck. Normally, you would have gone to the add-ons list and chosen Get Add-ons and then searched their little store for PearDeck and installed it yourself. But we've already purchased it. We've already force installed it for you. Excuse me. So one way that you might see it, if you don't see it already, click on your add-ons in Google Slides. So open up a Google Slide presentation, a new one or an existing one. And in the top menu, click the word add-ons. And then I don't know how it decides what order to show the add-ons in because every time I click on it, the order is different. You also don't necessarily have as many add-ons as I do. So you might see PearDeck somewhere else in this list. Right now it's showing alpha order, but I guarantee you that is not always the case because sometimes PearDeck is like the second one from the top. When you hover over it, you'll notice that it says Open PearDeck Add-on. However, the other place you might see it, and this is where it is on mine now, is in your top menu where you have File, Edit, Arrange, Tools, PearDeck, and then Add-ons. So you might see PearDeck in your top menu above your slide that you're editing, where it has that File, Edit, Arrange, Tools, and so on. You might see it there. I also think you might see it there after you open it from the add-ons menu the first time. So I'm not sure because mine just appeared and it appeared one day over the summer and I never knew why. It just showed up there next to add-ons. So that is now how I start PearDeck. So the key is you have to be in Google Slides. You have to be working within a slide deck, either a brand new one or one you already made, because you could insert these PearDeck slides into a slide deck you already made last year. And then either click add-ons and get PearDeck from the list, or look at the menu at the top and see if you just see PearDeck already and click on it. Oops. So this kind of shows you the rest. This is that top menu. So you might have to click the add-ons button, but as you can see here in this screenshot from, I just added this one today, PearDeck was already in my top menu next to the word add-ons. So it just depends on whether or not you already see it or if you have to click add-ons to get it. There is also an app in your Waffle for Google Drive. So in Google Drive, instead of clicking on any of your files, you go over to what's called the Waffle, that's your app launcher, and you scroll down until you find PearDeck. Okay, so PearDeck has embedded itself in a couple of places. So to find add-ons, let me exit. Yeah, let's end the class. Hold on a second, demo, September 1. So it's inviting me to share published student takeaways. Okay, finding link to takeaways. And then I'm going to return to Google Slides. And I'm going to escape for a second so you can see. Yes, I know. End class. Cancel. All right, hold on a second. It did this once before. Let me click the end button here because it has end session. It has a little bit of a glitch if I try to. There we go. We're going to see this again in a minute. This is where I chose to have you do it with me in real time by choosing instructor paste. But when you start a PearDeck, you can also do student paste and just push it out in Google Classroom. But I wanted to answer Jennifer's question. Jennifer, you have to have a Google slide deck open. And then you have a slide. This is the slide you're editing. These thumbnails are other slides in your presentation, if you have any yet. And this is what's called the top menu. And if you keep going to the right, you'll see the word add-ons. You click on add-ons, and then from there you'll have to look at whatever list you have. It might not be very long, but one of them should be PearDeck for Google Slides. Okay. We can go over that again in a little bit if we need to as well. All right, let's get us back over to where we were right here and go back to present. Oh, I know. Okay, hold on. Let me escape. I know why that happened. I don't know why it happened because it happens to me without me wanting that to happen. Hold on a second. Let me close my little PearDeck thing. Okay. So over to the right when you're editing. Oh, wait. Yeah, that's right. Over to the right when you're editing, there's a little caret in you. Mine is facing up. And you see when I hover over it, it says hide the menus. That means at some point you accidentally hid your menus. Yours is facing down. So if you open a Google slide deck and click the little V off to the right, your menus at the top will reappear. That's just so if I click that, notice in a second, it just hid all my menus. There's no file, there's no add-ons, there's nothing. But now I have this funny little V. If I click that little downward caret, it's going to reload my menus at the top where they should be. Thank you for saying that, Jennifer. That helped a lot, actually. All right. All right, so PearDeck, once you turn on PearDeck, after your menus reappear and everything, and you turn on PearDeck, you have the slide you're editing in the middle. Off to the left, but I cut it out of the screenshot, you have your thumbnails of any other slides you've created so far. And PearDeck is going to open this whole section off to the right. So the first thing I want you to know is if you scroll down a little bit after you open the PearDeck add-on, you'll see a blue button that says how PearDeck works. That is built-in help. You can click that at any time to get more help. You'll see right above that, you'll see that there are, do you want a text slide where they type? Do you want it multiple choice? What about a number? Do you want to put a website there? What about draw? What about a draggable with the dot or the flag? Those are going to be blank slides where it just builds in the programming, but you add all the content. It's not a template at all. You add everything, and it just does the programming so that when the students receive it, there'll be a dot for them to drag, or there'll be drawing tools for them to draw. I'm going to show you where the templates are so that you can use the templates to get started. So you open your PearDeck add-on, and there's a template library. So this is on the right-hand side of your slide deck. If I open the PearDeck add-on, it's going to turn on in just a second, and it's going to load that whole PearDeck menu. And here's the template library. And this is where I recommend that teachers go to start, because their template library includes a variety of slides that they see as being for the beginning of a lesson, some that they see for during the lesson for transitions and check-ins and so on, and then end of lesson reflections and exit tickets. But that's not all. And this is just a button. If you click here, you'll see there's several choices that you can insert. Then if you go down here, there are critical thinking and social emotional learning slides. If you scroll down more, there are example questions for any content area, slides for the primary grades, content slides for math, science, social studies, world languages, and ELA. And they used to have, here we go, prepared content. I scrolled past these blank ones. These are blank, again, that you designed from scratch, and it just puts in the programming. You also have the ability to add audio to a slide. We'll talk about that in a minute. They worked with Google's Be Internet Awesome to provide some digital citizenship curriculum. And then here is your help button at the bottom. Anytime you want to add a slide, you grab the slide that you want, click on it, and notice on my left-hand menu, slide 18, there's going to be a new slide 19. So I'm on slide 18. This new one is slide 19, and my original slide 19 has now become slide number 20. Everything is editable. So I happen to have picked the same one. You'll notice that their default says, as you come in and get settled, follow these instructions, 1, 2, 3, find your seat, take out your device, answer the question. Then I went here. I didn't change very much. I colored a couple of things, right? But I can retype anything I want here. I can change all of this, right? And say something else. Please follow the instructions below. I can make this a totally different type of activity. I just liked the 3 boxes, but I actually want them to do something different with those. I can get rid of the word bell ringer. Everything is editable, except that you never, ever, ever want to mess with the bottom of the slide. This darker grayish blue bar, that's where all the magic is. That's how it pushes the programming out to the students with what they're supposed to be able to do on this slide. So don't touch that. Don't mess with that, because it messes with the programming and then the slides don't work. So you have to leave that alone. One of the new features, oh, hold on. Can I add a video to this? Not directly, but you can add video to Google Slides as long as the video is on YouTube. Google only plays with Google products, and YouTube is a Google product. So you can embed video into your Google Slides, and then maybe on what you could do, that's a little tricky, but what you could do is you could create a slide. So let's do this. Let's create right here. Let me go back. I'm going to create kind of a blank slide. Where to go? Out of the template library. And I'm going to create a blank slide. And on the blank slide, I want there to be a single multiple choice question. So now there's going to be, it's going to open this up to create what I want. This means that I chose multiple choice. So the students are going to see true, false. On the classroom projector, I can show the answers if I want. Hit next. Insert my choices. So my choices are, I don't even know, because I'm making this up. Gray cat, white cat, black cat, tabby cat. We're going to say add another, and we're going to say tabby cat. Okay, and we're going to update the slide. Now let's see what happens here. I'm going to see if this works. I'm not sure you're going to be able to add it on the same slide, but I'm going to try. So hold on a second. Oh, nope. I think that, where'd it go? Nope. I think that pushed it to you. To your, oh, it added it to the current slide. Bummer. So but that's okay. So it added the questions here, and now it changed the bar on the bottom. I see what it did. It changed the bar on the bottom to students choose an option, and I could insert video from YouTube. We're going to pretend I've carefully previewed all of these videos. Okay. And so here's my video. This is just for imagination purposes, right? Because, sorry, my mouse likes to, okay. I can change this to a question. Which cat swims in the pool? They watch the video and then they choose the answer option A, B, C, or D from the choices that were provided. But that's really the only way. This tool, I will say, was not designed to work with video. There are other tools that are better with video. Sure, but you could enter that. You could add a song, Bianca, at the beginning anyway with insert audio. You can have it playing on that first slide as they're entering, or you could even just be playing it in the background through Zoom. making sure that you share your computer audio, and then it would be in the background, or it would be playing as they enter. You're welcome. That might be easier than trying to do it on your slide, actually. Let's see if there we go, and I just got rid of that. So if you wanted to add audio to your slides, this is most useful if you're pushing the slides out for students to do on their own time and you're not going to be around to answer their questions. So this actually offers you an easy way now to add audio to slides, even if you don't add any other PearDeck things. Like if you just want to have audio on each slide of a presentation in order to support them, you could turn on PearDeck and you could click add audio. And if I do that, you'll see that it's going to, in a second, load the audio recorder. I'm going to press my record button. On this slide, we are going to learn about how to add audio to Google Slides using PearDeck's Add Audio button. Pause, save. The only trick is I'm going to click Add Audio to Slide, and it's doing it right now, so it's taking a little bit of a second. But now it's going to put a little audio included, which I can move. I can move that somewhere else. And I can't play that audio from here, but when I push this out to my students, I have to give them the PearDeck link. I have tried it the other way. The audio does not save to Google Slides by itself. The students have to receive the PearDeck link. And then on every one of the slides that has audio, the students will actually see the placeholder that says audio included on their slide, and they can click that to listen to the audio that was recorded. But only if you send them the PearDeck link, not just the share from Google Slides. That's really important. When it's time to give your presentation to your students, whether you want to do it live or for students to do whenever they're on the computer next, you're going to open PearDeck in your Google Slides and click Start Lesson. Then, if it's something they need to do on their own time, you choose Student Paste. If they're going to do it with you in class in Zoom, you choose Instructor Paste. If you do Student Paste, you will get a direct link to share to Google Classroom. If you're using Seesaw, you'll want to just do the copy link and put that in Seesaw. These are just the windows from Google Classroom. For those of you who use it, they'll look pretty familiar. And then you can post it. And as you know, here are some slides that show you what the students see, just because I wanted to remind you. So if it's a short answer response, they see the question on the left and they type their answer on the right. Now, I am looking in my dashboard to see these. And the first thing I want to show you is that during an asynchronous lesson or a live lesson, this is asynchronous, it will show me how many students are on a given slide. So let's say I just pushed out an assignment that's due tomorrow, and I happen to go to my dashboard to see how kids are doing. It's showing me that 10 students are on this slide, and it'll even show me their names if I hover over it. 2 students are on this slide, and 3 students are on this slide. If you are doing the lesson live, the students can't be on different slides. They're all on the same slide because you are controlling the pace. So you would only see this in your dashboard if the students are doing it asynchronously. Then I can go slide by slide and get to a slide with an activity like this true false one we did, right? And I can see who responded, and it is going to tell me which students answered that this was false and nobody answered that it was true. This is where you're going to like the Google Classroom option because they should come in signed in. Drag your dot. If I hover over a dot, it tells me that that is owl, but it's going to be tricky. I have 2 dots on top of each other here. That's going to be tricky to figure out. However, if I know who was in class that day or who did this activity, it looks like I only have 1 person over here. So I can probably use the process of elimination to figure out who these 2 people are. If I could just get this one, this one, this one, that one, and one of the 2, I can figure out who the other is. This slide actually needs to be updated a teeny tiny bit, but most of it is still true. So see who is on each slide. This is Owl. Owl drew a triangle using the line or shape tool. I can star it. That's how I chose what you got to see. So sometimes I didn't show everybody's answers. That's because I clicked the star to show only that 1 or 2 others. Now, as I'll show you in a second, I'll go to my dashboard. there's a new little icon here that wasn't there before. So the star moved over a little bit and there's a little comment bubble. That's because you can now send individual feedback back to each student who responded. So this would only, if I click on the comment bubble, the comment I provide back will only go to OWL. Now that does mean they have to be signed in. So I think that also does work better for students who do this asynchronously. So let me take you to my dashboard. We have a few minutes left and we are actually almost done. So it's good. Hold on a second. Yeah. Okay. So let me take you to my dashboard. Your dashboard, actually my dashboard's already open. Your dashboard will open automatically in a new tab, just so you know. And right now I could go here. I can go to any slide and then see how I hover and it shows me that those people chose C, those people chose D. Okay. This doesn't allow me, I can't give feedback in that case. Let me see if I can, there we go. But now Peacock drew all this and I have the star if I want to have that be one of the responses that the class can see when I click show responses. But I also have a comment button. This comment is going to let me leave feedback. I love the use of colors. Please also share some thoughts about each character's perspective. And then it's going to say send feedback, but I don't think you're signed in. So I don't think anybody's going to receive this feedback because it let you come in anonymously. So boom, feedback for Peacock. And I can even add more feedback if I'd like to. And now this is only typed. Notice there's no audio feedback or anything like that, but I could leave more feedback if I want to. So that's the feedback tool. I do think that one will be helpful when you do it asynchronously and push it out through Google Classroom so that the kids are signed in. Okay. You'll see here again, with these multiple choice types of things, there's no way to do feedback. All I can do, I can see that that's penguin, that's dog. Yeah, there's saber-tooth, there's donkey, there's peacock, and there's horse. That's what I can do with that. The other thing I want to show you, however, is I want to take you to my dash. So I'm going to erase most of this. And I'm going to hit exit from this actually. Okay, it's going to go home. So if you go to app.peardeck.com and sign in, and I'm signed in with my San Juan account, I can go to sessions. And Daniel, this will be interesting to you. And you can open, these are all sessions I've done since August 18th. I can open any session at any time. They have a vocabulary game tool that I tried to play with a little bit. It was a little odd, but we tried it out. In any case, these are any sessions and I can go back to any one of those sessions and I can open the teacher dashboard view, the classroom view, and then I can also turn on student paste and make it available. Even though we did it live, I can turn it into a student paste for those who are absent. I can rename it or I can archive it. If I just click on the title of it, it's going to load that and it's going to give me the same options here again. Do I want to start student paste? Do I want to restart a live session? Would I like to go to the dashboard and review the answers? So if I go to the dashboard, it's going to bring up my presentation and I can go to any slide that was a PearDeck activity and I can review the responses, right? So we have only a couple of slides with PearDeck responses on them, but I can go back and review them at any time. And again, I did that by going to app.peardeck.com to sign into my my account on the, almost like going to the Zoom settings page. It's the account settings page for PearDeck. And that's what gives me access to all of the previous sessions so I can review answers and provide feedback at another time if I need to, or so I can send it out asynchronously. So the names, I didn't get the names. It's doing, it gave you all anonymous names from what I can tell. You all might have to tell me. It looks like it had you all join as anonymous names. You can feel free to put in the chat how you got your name, but I don't know if it gave you any choices. If you push it out through Google Classroom, they should come signed in with their student names. How I would share a quick, how are you feeling today with the class? Oh, sure. right after all have had a chance to respond. So I would say, Bianca, one of the things you can do actually that's really interesting, if you didn't do any other PearDeck at all, if you go to app.peardeck.com, I did notice one of the interesting things that they've just added. Make sure you're signed in. So I have to log back in. Sorry, this is gonna bog down a little. Okay, there we go, logged me in. It has a thing called Popup Activities. So it'll let me choose a prompt, and you might have a feelings one there that you can just grab, even if you never made a PearDeck presentation. But here's the catch. You still have to get the kids to join that PearDeck. So I think it's easier to do this. Ahead of time and be prepared so that you can quickly get students the link. But you could do stress check. Then if you're seeing my slide, click give students a link. It's already copied. Go to your chat, open it up, put the link in the chat. That will get them in the fastest.
Is that how you open the teacher dashboard?
And I can open the teacher dashboard from right here, but remember that's going to show the teacher dashboard to everybody. So I go on a second device and I go to app.peardeck.com and sign in and open my dashboard there.
Okay, so you have to do that in order to see the
responses. And, you know, with my 4 AP kids, you know, I would actually, with my AP students, I would just open up the responses and we would all look at them in real time and it was fine. I just clicked show responses and I didn't even preview them. But you might have reasons why you want to open the teacher dashboard and preview the responses. So you can click there.
Can I open it in a different, you know how you have like all these windows here and then other ones?
You could try, but I would do that before you start your Zoom and just pop it out into a different tab.
Okay.
But just know that Zoom changed this thing. If you leave the tab you're showing in Zoom, it does that thing where it freezes the screen share.
Oh, yeah, for them. Okay.
It's super annoying. And then so it says, got it. And then it says you're projecting the join code. So tell your students to join. So I did put it in the chat. And then once students have joined and started responding, I've got my dashboard right here and it's waiting for responses. But if I go here, it's showing I'm in a good space. This is actually almost like a start, like, how are you doing? I can focus, something's bothering me. I can't manage my emotions or my behaviors right now. I think, Bianca, it would be best to go through the templates and prepare that and have it ready so that it could be in your slide. It could be in your slide deck ready to go. But as you can see, there are some pop-up ones that you could do. Okay. And then let me just show you at the end, the last 2 slides here talk about the PowerUp extension. You don't need that unless you are a fan of what's called animation in Google Slides, which I am, and I forgot to use it on this, so I couldn't do it. Animation means things come in one at a time. And you can do that in Google Slides, but it turns out PearDeck, the normal PearDeck, doesn't like it. PearDeck just shows everything all at once. So even though I clearly animated this, if we were still presenting in PearDeck, it would have shown everything all at once. So this extension is the answer to that. An extension is a mini program that runs in your Chrome browser. Notice my 2 circles match. You have to be the same person in Chrome browser as you are in PearDeck and Google Drive and everything. And if I open that extension, it basically just opens another blank slide deck and I can copy all these slides into there. And now it has a little extra magic and my animations will work when I hit start lesson. So I wouldn't worry about that unless you're a fan of animations like I am. Then you want to make it a habit to start your slide decks using the extension. And when you click on it, it asks you if you want to create a lesson, and then it starts a new slide deck for you, and that's the one you have to use. You can copy these slides into that new slide deck, but you have to create it from the extension or you cannot bring things in one at a time. And then I gave you a reminder to sign in at peardeck.com. And then I circled the sessions to remind you that that's how you can get to your student work if the session is over. Kind of gave you a screenshot of this one that you saw a little bit ago with the different icons. And then here's some help and extras for you in this slide deck. So there's a getting started page, their own knowledge base. the recording from May 5th of 2020, which is probably going to be replaced with today's recording, actually, and a cool thing they have called Weekly Wonders. These are templates that aren't even in the template library that you can download to have to use. So they give every week, they release some new secret special templates. So go check them out and you can keep any of the ones you want. And this website will get you to all of them, even though you've only been a member of PearDeck for a few weeks. Okay, and that's it for today.
Sorry, can I ask a basic question?
Of course.
So this presentation and slides that you're shared and I clicked on, then how do I make sure I can get back to that? I know that's basic.
That's okay. When you opened it, and this is going to be tricky because you might be watching me in Zoom, but I want you to see if you can find, you opened the slides, it sounds like already. Are you able to get back to those? You might have to go find your Chrome window and open that and see if you have it open in the tab.
Yeah, I'm going to go back to like the chat and the link and just click on it again.
That'll work too.
Okay.
Now you're going to click on, you're going to look at it, and I'm going to be on my Zoom screen kind of talking you through how to save these to your Google Drive, and then you'll never need that link again because these slides will be in your Google Drive.
Okay.
Okay. Has it opened?
Yeah.
Okay. At the top left, you see the Google Slides logo. To the right of that, you see the title PearDeck.
Okay. Sorry, that's the check-in, so I'm going to skip that.
Sorry about that.
Okay.
You want the...
Okay, sorry.
You got it?
Your teacher has ended this session?
Oh, sorry. No, you actually probably want my slides, right? With the, let me put it back in the chat for you.
Thank you. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
This is something I need to figure out because I...
No, it's okay. And it's one of those things where eventually everybody gets comfortable with it.
I went with you. I need it too. So
no, see, exactly. This is something you'll all get better at soon. So
okay.
Click the link in the chat. Now you're looking at my slides.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
In the left, you see the yellow slides icon. To the right of that, you see the title PearDeck.
Yeah.
To the right of that, you see a star.
Yeah.
To the right of that, you probably have a funny triangle with a plus.
Yeah.
Click it. It is now added to your Google Drive.
Okay.
So that means if you sign into Google Drive and type the word PearDeck at the top where the search bar is, it'll take you right to this.
Great. Okay.
Okay.
Yay.
There you go.
That I have been in so many Zooms where stuff has been saved and I thought it was saved, but just because I clicked on it.
Shoot.
And then I realized, you know,
I'm sorry.
No, it's just, it's all a learning, right?
It is.
All right. Thank you so much. I have to